What's up, Dolphins Nation? Welcome back to the channel where we bring you all the latest breaking news about our Miami Dolphins. You already know the team is working day in and day out to get better, pushing for those key victories and striving for greatness. Today, I've got some pretty intriguing news to discuss, one that involves our quarterback situation and a potential trade that could shake things up. Before we get into it, don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't yet. Your support helps the channel grow and keeps you informed with the most up-to-date Dolphins content. Now, let's dive into what could be a game-changing move for the Dolphins. Let's get straight to it, Dolphins fans. There's been some buzz around the league about the upcoming NFL trade deadline, and a lot of eyes are on Miami. Our starting quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa, has been sidelined since Week 2 due to a concussion, and that's caused a lot of uncertainty about the future. While Tua is working hard on his recovery, the conversation has shifted toward whether Miami should have a contingency plan in place for the rest of the season, and that's where the surprise trade comes into play. According to Cody Benjamin of CBS Sports, there's speculation that the Dallas Cowboys might consider sending their third-string quarterback, Trey to Miami in exchange for a draft pick. Lance, once a top prospect and the third overall pick in the 2021 NFL Draft, hasn't had much of a chance to prove himself in the NFL. With just 4 games under his belt and none since 2022, the 24-year-old quarterback is still very much a mystery. So why would Miami be interested in Lance? Mike McDaniel, our head coach, was with the San Francisco 49ers when Lance was drafted, and he's familiar with the quarterback skill set. McDaniel could see potential in bringing him into Miami to develop further under his system. With Tua's health always a concern, adding a talented backup like Lance might give the Dolphins some much-needed security moving forward. The idea of bringing in Trey raises some big questions. We know that Tua is our guy when he's healthy, but with his injury history, it feels a bit risky to bank entirely on his availability for the rest of the season and beyond. If Tua were to go down again, do we have enough confidence in our current backup, Tyler Huntley, to lead the offense? Huntley's been decent, but if McDaniel and the front office feel that Lance could be a better long-term option, they might just pull the trigger on this trade. Lance is still unpolished, but he's incredibly dynamic. He has a strong arm, great mobility, and could thrive in McDaniel's offensive system, which is built around a lot of motion and play action. At the same time, Lance would come in with low expectations and could develop without the pressure of being thrown into the fire immediately. If he proves to be the real deal, Miami could end up with a valuable asset for years to come. On the flip side, do we want to give up draft capital for a player who hasn't proven himself yet? That's the big question, and it's one the Dolphins front office will have to weigh heavily. It's a gamble, but with Tua's health being such a question mark, it might be a gamble worth taking. From the Cowboys' side, it makes a lot of sense for them to consider moving Lance. They're solid at quarterback with Dak Prescott at the helm and Cooper Rush as the primary backup. Lance, who's currently their third-string QB, isn't likely to see any playing time unless something drastic happens. Rather than holding on to him, Dallas could capitalize by gaining a valuable draft pick for a player they aren't using. As Benjamin pointed out, this is a win-win for Dallas. They maintain their depth at quarterback while recouping some draft capital they can use in the future. Plus, they'd be sending Lance to a team where he could actually have a chance to grow, which could be appealing to both Lance and the Cowboys front office. Now, let's talk about Tua. We all know how important he is to the success of this team, but his health has become a recurring issue. Concussions are no joke, and Tua's well-being is the top priority. Even though he might be back soon, it's understandable that the Dolphins would want to think ahead and consider other options at quarterback, just in case. Tua's talent is undeniable, but can the Dolphins rely on him to stay on the field? That's a tough question, and it's why we're even having this conversation about Trey Lance. Tyler Huntley has filled in admirably, but is he capable of leading the team deep into the playoffs if Tua isn't available? The addition of someone like Lance could provide extra insurance, especially as the Dolphins aim to contend for the AFC East and a playoff spot this season. Let's not forget, while we're talking about quarterbacks, that the Dolphins' defense has been the real backbone of this team, especially in Tua's absence. In Week 5, our defense stepped up big time, and through 5 games, we're ranked 6th in total defense and 4th in pass defense. That's no small feat, especially considering the injuries we've had to deal with. With guys like Jalen Ramsey, Kendall Fuller, and Jevon Holland anchoring the secondary, and Zach Sealer and Calais Campbell dominating on the defensive line, the defense has been holding it down. Even with key injuries, Like losing Jalen Phillips to an ACL tear, the defense hasn't missed a beat. Anthony Weaver, our new defensive coordinator, has done an amazing job stepping in and elevating this unit. The defense has been keeping us in games, and while the offense struggled after Tua went down, the team has remained competitive thanks to this group. If Trey Lance were to come in, he wouldn't need to be a savior. He'd just need to manage the game while the defense does its thing. So, what do you think, Dolphins Nation? Should Miami go after Trey Lance as a potential backup, or maybe even a long-term option, at quarterback? It's a big decision, and it could impact the franchise's future in a major way. Here's what we know. Tua's health is always going to be a concern, no matter how well he plays when he's on the field. Trey Lance is a talented but unproven quarterback who could flourish under the right system and coach. The Dallas Cowboys are in a position where they might be willing to part with Lance for the right price, possibly a late-round draft pick in 2025. Our defense is playing at an elite level, and with a solid backup, we could be in position to make a deep run this season, even if Tua misses more time. At the end of the day, it comes down to whether the front office believes Lance can be a difference-maker and whether they're willing to part with future assets to bring him in. McDaniel and the coaching staff have shown they're willing to take risks, but is this the right one? I want to hear what you think. Should the Dolphins make a move for Trey Lance, or should they stick with the current QB depth chart and hope for the best with Tua and Huntley? Let me know in the comments below. What would you do if you were in the GM's chair? And as always, if you enjoyed this video, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more exclusive Dolphins content. We're just getting started, and I'll be here every week breaking down the biggest news and analysis from the season. Thanks for watching, Dolphins fans, and until next time, fins up. There you have it, Dolphins Nation. The potential trade rumors are heating up, and we'll see if our front office decides to pull the trigger. The next few weeks are going to be crucial as we gear up for the playoff push. Let's stay locked in and see how things unfold.